Now available in paperback and Kindle Unlimited, E-Steam The Sands of Time. It's action and adventure in ancient Egypt in this terrific teen time travel romance. Get your copy of E-Steam The Sands of Time at your favorite online bookseller today. Recently, Sex and the City author Candace Bushnell stated that she regrets not having kids. And when I take a critical examination of Candace Bushnell's statement, it shows me that when it comes down to many of the women who bought into the feminist ideologies of the late 60s and early 70s, they are now having remorse because as they take a look back at their lives, they're seeing that they haven't really accomplished anything. Now, most of these women, like your Candace Bushnell and her black contemporary Terry McMillan, who wrote the book Waiting to Exhale, they believe the ideologies that white feminists promoted in the late 60s and 70s that said that a woman was strong and independent and did not need a man. Moreover, they believed they could have it all by having their own careers and making their own money. And now, as these women enter their golden years, they are starting to find that their accomplishments don't mean as much. And now, a lot of them are realizing how truly empty their lives are. Because many of the women who adopted the Sex and the City lifestyle that Candace Bushnell pushed in her book, Sex and the City, they are finding themselves just as miserable as Candace Bushnell right now, because now many of these women are finding themselves to be in their older age and finding that all of their so-called career accomplishments don't mean much at the near end of their lives. And as they take that look back at their lives, they are realizing that they should have gone out here and gotten married to one of those men who that they were involved with, and they should have gotten off of that cock carousel that they were riding on and started to go out here and be the type of woman who would be a wife. So many of these women, like your Candace Bushnell, who is now 60 years old and now in her getting to be in her golden years, she's realizing how empty her life was riding this cock carousel, and now is finding herself really miserable because now she realizes that she can no longer find any sort of man out here to pursue a relationship with because the dating market, she's aged out of the dating marketplace. And your Candace Bushnell probably got a rude awakening about in 2012 when she divorced her husband and then had to go back out into the dating world. And when you're going out into the dating world, and this was only 7 years ago, so she had to be about 52, 53. So she's entering a dating world where she has to compete with younger women. And this is probably the thing that has her regretting not having kids, because had she stayed married and had kids, she would have a family around her and she could focus on taking care of not only her children but also her grandchildren. So when I look at Candace Bushnell, I see a woman who wasted her young years and now in her older age is regretting wasting her young years and not going out here and having that husband that she could serve and being a part of a family. And now she's looking at her life and seeing it as something empty and alone because most of the men she was riding the cock carousel on, most of those men have now moved on. Many of those men probably got married to younger women, and now those men are having children, and all she has are a bunch of books that promoted feminist ideology, and her legacy is one that she sees will soon be forgotten because Sex and the City was published in 1997 And yes, they turned it into a TV show, but it's a TV show nobody's really interested in. And she's thinking that she can make another show about Sex in the City for older people. But we all know that a woman's prospects for relationships, they are slim to none once a woman starts to hit her late 30s and even possibly 27, 28 years old. Because it's at that point that a woman has hit the wall. And once a woman hits the wall, she is considered no longer sexually attractive to men in social circles. So with Candace Bushnell, I believe what happened to her is she wound up trying to divorce this husband she had, and then she's had to enter the dating market at 52, 53, and she started to see that the pool of simps she enjoyed in her 20s and her 30s, this pool had practically evaporated because all of those men had wound up either getting married to women of that generation, or they married younger women, or those men, they became more established who were out there, and they became more self-aware of women like your Candace Bushnell, and decided they didn't want to deal with this woman who was carrying a whole host of baggage. And these men realized they could get better options as related to dating. Moreover, they could get with younger women who could possibly provide them with the children that men probably wanted to have with Candace Bushnell, but could not have with Candace Bushnell because she was too busy living her so-called best life and too busy going out here and taking rides on the cock carousel with multiple men. So that's what has her life in a complete mess. And now she's regretting not having those kids, because she would have had those kids and they would have been her support in her older age. They would have been her focus in her older age. And now she's probably looking down the road at her golden years and realizing that she is going to truly be alone. Yes, she's dating some guy right now, but that guy, once he starts to open his eyes and see reality as related to Candace Bushnell being a menopausal 60-year-old woman, and then see his prospects out here with younger women, he's going to drop Candace Bushnell, because he's going to say, yes, this woman wrote Sex in the City, but I can get better sexual dating prospects and marriage prospects with a younger woman, a woman who can be a wife to me, a woman who can help me by being a helpmeet and a support, a woman who can be teachable, a woman who can follow his lead as a man, and a woman who can go out here and provide him with the children that will allow him to build a legacy. There is nothing that a Candace Bushnell can offer a man in any way, shape, or form. I mean, this woman is 60 years old. She's menopausal. She has nothing to offer a man these days. And her saying that she regrets not having children is actually her saying she regrets living this ideal that feminists promoted, this ideal that a woman could go out here and have it all. And it seems that the all that Candace Bushnell had really wasn't worth much at the end of her life. Because when we look at her in the twilight of her golden years, we see a woman who all she has really is, yes, she had a successful TV series and a successful book, but at the end of her life, she has no real legacy to build on, because your children, for a woman, this is her legacy. This is the thing that matters most to most women, is having a husband, having a family. And Candace Bushnell missed out on this listening to the rhetoric of white feminists who told her and 2 to 3 generations of women the lie that they could have it all, and that they would not be able to go out here and have it all with a man. So most that she's looking at now is that she doesn't have anything at the end of this life. She doesn't have a husband who could have been somebody she could have built with. She threw that away and thought she could get better prospects out here with in her older age, not understanding that a woman only has a certain window to go out here and find a husband, and that window is from about 18 to about 30 years old. So if a woman isn't married by the time she's about 30 years old, then her prospects start to dwindle because, again, that pool of men out there that would have expressed interest in her, that pool starts to shrink, and the pool of simps, which where a lot of those men come from, that pool starts to really evaporate when that woman turns 25 or so. And once that pool starts to shrink, then the opportunities at relationships with men, they go down, and the opportunities for her possibly getting married, they start to shrink as well. And when you get to be Candace Bushnell's age, again, that pool starts to completely evaporated, and there's next to no men there. So this woman is going to be more miserable in the next 10 to 15 years because her prospects for any sort of joy are slim to none because she doesn't have any children, she has nothing, and she will be completely alone because she believes that, oh, she's dating someone now, but that guy is going to find a younger woman. And the lesson most women are going to have to learn about the Sex and the City crowd is that the Sex and the City ideology of riding the cock carousel, chasing after men like your Mr. Big and other assorted simps, this is not a good lifestyle for women to follow, because at the end of that life, a woman has really nothing there, and she has no legacy because she has no children, and without children, a woman really doesn't have much to at the end of the life. So she regrets not having kids, and now that's a lesson for every other woman out here, that when you go out here and follow feminism, there's not really much that you have, because I've not only heard this story from Candace Bushnell, one of the orchestrators of it in the 90s, but from other women who have gone out here and participated in this so-called Sex in the City lifestyle. Many of them are regretting their past after following the Sex in the City lifestyle. They're realizing that they are living very miserably. They're stuck in these jobs, and that's all they've got are these jobs. They don't have a husband, they don't have a family, and they are now miserable in their own company because they could have had a great life with a great man, but they threw that all away so that they could have it all. And now, nearing the end of their lives, like Candace Bushnell, they're realizing they had nothing to begin with. If you'd like to learn why women buy into this dysfunctional ideology of feminism, you can pick up my book, Why 70% of Black Women Are Single, on Amazon.com in paperback and Kindle form. Not paperback, it's not available in paperback, it's available in Kindle formats. And if you want to help me make more videos like this, you can donate to my Patreon, my PayPal, or my Cash App by clicking the link in the description box. That's all I have to say for this video. You can comment, rate, and subscribe. Now available in paperback and Kindle Unlimited, Isis, Imitation of Life. The Goddess Next Door helps a young black girl overcome racism during the era of Jim Crow in this Golden Age Isis series adventure. Get Isis, Imitation of Life in paperback and Kindle Unlimited today.